Hi, this is Zach May with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe. It is Sunday, the 21st of September. Starting off with the FTSE 100, which has decided to largely ignore the RSI 50 rebound that we had midweek. We didn't really get much past 92.40 and are now straining at the floor of that rising trend channel from back in June. Level there around 9200. Below that, there's the risk of a test of the 50-day line, 9150, although at this stage, we are not expecting anything lower than that. Probably now need a proper end of day close through 92.50 to open up the chance of 9500 at the top of the channel by the end of next month. Next on the list is the DAX, and here we had a little wobble during the week, but I suppose we're still nominally in that rising trend channel from April. The support line of that channel there around 23,600. Above that, looking for the 50-day line at just under 24,000. But it has to be said, if you're not in this market, probably waiting either for the RSI to break above the neutral 50 level versus 45 at the moment, or regardless, is a sell into strength up to that 50-day line. On the downside, the risk is that we go down to the 200-day line there at 22,700. But it is a bit of a dead market, so really not much to do apart from that potential sell into strength idea. The Dow is next, and here we are heading onwards and upwards, and here it looks as though above the old August resistance, 45,800, we've got a pretty clear run to 47,700, which is the top of the rising trend channel from May last year. We were looking for that by the end of next month. Might get that a bit sooner the way things are going, although obviously the nearer we get to a price channel top, the greater the risk of a rug pull. If there is a rug pull, it would be down to the 50-day line then, old 45,000 resistance near the near that particular level. What you can also see, which is quite amazing, is the way that we've had multiple RSI 50 rebounds and obviously failures, but RSI 50 plus rebounds since the middle of last month, something which is very strong and something that you don't see very often. On to the cryptos, and first one is Bitcoin, where we've dithered a bit in the upper teens, so 117, 118, the peak so far. Support at the 50-day moving average, which is looks like it's trying to curl up actually in 114. At least while we're above that and above the 50-day moving average, rather the RSI 50 level, we are looking for the top of the rising trend channel there, up to 131,000 by the end of next month. One would have thought all those companies buying Bitcoin for treasury purposes would have caused this market to soar, but it seems to be rather slow at the moment. But as I said, at least we're above that 50-day line. On to Ethereum, where there are high hopes, or there have been high hopes here, of a move up to 5,500 by the end of next month. And the way things are going, that may be slightly optimistic, but at least the RSI is above the neutral 50. We are, I suppose, just above the floor of that rising trend channel, although you can argue exactly where that is, above the rising trend channel floor there around 43.50 or around current levels. Probably the best and most reliable stop loss at the moment would be the 50-day line there at 43.63. Well, at least while there's no end of day close back below that and below the RSI 50 level at 40.51 at the moment. Still looking for this market to flip higher to the top of that rising July trend channel at 5,500 by the end of next month. But something mysterious as to why we are dithering on that market at the moment. On to gold, where we had the slight pullback midweek, but ended the week on a decent note, above 3,600. And while we are above 3,600, looking at the top of that channel there, heading for as high as 38.50 by the end of next month. That's the top of a rising trend channel from April. So looking very strong here in terms of this being a mid-move consolidation and actually a higher destination even than 38.50. Moving on to the stocks and starting off with Audioboom, which has been somewhat painful over the recent past, but looks like it's getting less painful. We're just about to, in fact, we have delivered on Friday a golden cross between the 50 and 200-day lines. We actually had a strong price action on Friday as well, opening at the low, closing at the high. So somebody was obviously keen to get a trade or two in by the end of the week. The B at the moment is while we're above recent support there around 480, looking for this market to get up to as high as 750 by the end of next month, backed by that rising the rising 50 and 200-day lines, and also, by the way, that we've had 3 RSI 50 plus rebounds for the stock so far this month. The latest one at around the 57 level. That is a strong leading indicator on the upside, even for Audioboom, which has obviously tended to fail over the recent past. Moving along to a stock which was greeted quite positively when it came up with its announcements recently. Here you can see that we're still above the rise. It was still above the 50-day line there at 1.16. Above that, we're looking for the shares to fill the gap up there towards 2.75 pence, hopefully by the end of next month. RSI is still above the neutral 50 level, so looking decent. I think the update this week was regarding its crypto treasury policy, so that seems to have gone relatively well. Moving along to Blencowe, which actually with the fundraisers in the rearview mirror, we've got a V-shaped rebound here. The target here was and has been up to 6.1, 6.2 pence, we'll call it now. We might even get that by the end of this month. And above that, looking for 8 pence as soon as the end of next month, backed by an uptrend line in the RSI window. And really, above 5 pence, 8 pence looks like a done deal on that situation. Rather less high profile is B90, and here we've gapped to the upside after a pretty good step fashion ascent in the recent past. Extended RSI 50 rebound in the last week or so. That follows previous one since the end of June, which is all good, and suggests that the rather ambitious looking target there, as high as 5.25 pence, could be hit by the end of next month, while we're above the rising 50-day line at 3.15 pence. Moving along to Cadence, which seems to be on the brink of success. We're already in success, actually, at the moment, especially in terms of the share price recovery. Here we've went just shy of our target there towards 4 pence, above 4 pence. Looking for a decent move after that, hopefully up towards the 6 pence zone, which was resistance on the way down back in 2024. So hopefully that will come to pass, i.e. 6 pence, by the end of next month on any quick break of the 4 pence region. We're remaining bullish here while we're above the previous target around 2.5 pence. Moving along the list to defence holdings, which apparently tomorrow will come up with the Sermon on the Mount in terms of a broadcast to shareholders. Here you can see that the shares have managed to bounce just below our third target there, around 1.25 pence. Next target is 2. Best case scenario target here up to 3.5 pence by the end of next month, if some really golden words are elicited over the next 24 to 48 hours. Moving along to Equipmake, and here you can see that there's been an unfilled gap to the upside through resistance, which tends to be a good signal. The resistance in question around 1.9 pence above that. We're looking for as much as 4 pence by the end of next month. I'm not quite sure why we're so bullish about it, but it just looks like the shares with that gap through the now rising 50 and 200-day lines seem to be on a bit of a tear. Moving on to Empire Metals, where I've been banned from mentioning the Lassonde curve. Here you can see that the end of day close back above the rising 50-day line was a decent recovery signal. What's also even more decent now is that we managed to close above old neckline, broken neckline support there at 49 pence. Above that, looking at the top of that channel, the lilac line there as high as 74 pence by the end of next month, or even sooner. But the key here is staying above 49 pence. RSI's pushed back above neutral 50 as well to 55, so that is also a plus. On to Genflow, which I'm secretly hoping will be the next biotech to hit the big time, or at least recover properly. Here you can see that we've broken the old resistance there from April, around 1.2 pence. We've broken the 200-day line and the falling trend channel at 1.2 as well. Above that, looking for as much as 2.5 pence by the end of next month, with the unfilled gap to the upside helping the cause, and a couple of RSI 50 plus rebounds in the recent past. So hopefully Genflow is due for a bit of a purple patch. Moving on to Harena, which has had a decent week as well, bouncing above a rising 50-day line, RSI 50 rebound as well. We were looking for 2 pence, or just above 2 pence actually, the level now up to 2.2 pence. Looking for that by hopefully by the end of this month, Otherwise, one can push it into October. Upside valid here while we're above the 50-day line at a penny and a half. Moving on to Kefi, which, although it may not feel like it, is actually at 2-year lows. We were looking for previously zero point 0.8, and above zero point 0.8 we were looking for 1.1 pence, which seemed to be a little bit ambitious, but now looks as though it's a fair target for the end of next month. And the progress that we've seen, very steady actually, apart from that little rug pull that we had at the beginning of this month. Upside valid, certainly while we're above the old initial September peak there around the 0.87 level on an end of day close basis. On to the last two. The first one is Spire, which is rather larger than the type of company we normally look at, but I was quite pleased that the shares saw that trend channel that I drew on Friday at £2.47. Above that on an end of day close basis, looking for £2.80 by the end of next month. I suppose the company's news or speculation regarding the company on Friday a bit of a positive in terms of it mulling its options. Finishing off with WeCap, which seems to be on the edge of greatness, not only in terms of potential US listing, but also in the charting sense as well. Here it looks as though we've got a mid-move consolidation, an end of day close, or the end of day close above 2.8 should be enough to get the shares up to 4 pence by the end of next month, 4 pence being old resistance on the way down. Ideally, now we stay on the right side of recent broken resistance at 2.25 pence. RSI 50 and a rebound in the last week or two as well, also helping the cause. That's it for me today. More updates tomorrow.